The placement of one person's Saturn in another person's sixth house is rarely described as a fairy tale connection. Instead, it is a profound, grounded, and often heavy karmic contract centered on the sanctification of the mundane. In Synastry, the sixth house governs the rhythm of daily life, health, service, and the work of being human. When Saturn, the great taskmaster and lord of karma, enters this space, the relationship shifts from theoretical romance into a lived discipline. The weight of the unpaid debt. Karmically, Saturn in the sixth house often suggests a service debt, carried over from a previous incarnation. There is an immediate, unspoken sense of responsibility that the Saturn person feels toward the sixth house person's well-being. This isn't the airy, fleeting help of a friend. It is the somber commitment of a caretaker or a mentor. In past lives, these individuals may have functioned in a master-servant, doctor-patient, or employer-employee dynamic, where the duties were either left unfulfilled or were performed under extreme duress. In this lifetime, the Saturn person returns to correct the books, often by providing the sixth house person with the structure, discipline, or physical support they lack. The burden of the mundane. For the sixth house person, the presence of the partner's Saturn can feel like having a cosmic supervisor constantly looking over their shoulder. Saturn demands efficiency. If the sixth house person is disorganized, prone to health issues, or negligent in their daily duties, Saturn will highlight these flaws, not to be cruel but to enforce growth. This creates a dynamic where the relationship is defined by the grind. The couple may find that their time together is dominated by errands, chores, dietary regimes, or professional collaborations rather than leisure. The karma here is found in the refinement of the ego through routine. Saturn teaches the sixth house person that freedom is found through discipline, while the sixth house person provides Saturn with a practical outlet for their need to be useful and authoritative. Health as a mirror of karma. Because the sixth house governs the physical body and its ailments, this synastry often manifests through health-related trials. The Saturn person may become a literal anchor during the sixth house person's illnesses, or their presence may trigger the sixth house person to finally take their physical longevity seriously. Conversely, if the Saturn person is overly critical, the sixth house person may experience Saturnian physical symptoms, tension, bone or joint issues, or fatigue, as a somatic response to the perceived pressure. The karmic lesson here is to learn that caretaking is not the same as controlling. The Saturn person must learn to support without suffocating, and the sixth house person must learn to accept structure without feeling enslaved. The evolution of the bond. As the years pass, this placement can create one of the most stable and enduring foundations in the zodiac. While it lacks the fireworks of fifth house placements or the intensity of the eighth, it possesses the glue of shared labor. There is a deep, quiet satisfaction that comes from building a life together, brick by brick. The karmic release occurs when both partners realize that their love is expressed through the quality of their shared silence and the efficiency of their shared home. When the sixth house person stops resisting the Saturn person's lessons, and the Saturn person stops judging the sixth house person's chaos, the debt is paid. They move from a dynamic of supervisor and subordinate to a well-oiled machine, two souls perfecting the art of living. To understand the internal experience of this synastry, we have to look at the power versus pressure dynamic. While both feel the weight, they experience the gravity from opposite sides of the scale. The Saturn person, the cosmic auditor. The Saturn person often feels an involuntary, almost heavy-handed sense of responsibility for the sixth house person's life. They look at their partner's daily habits, their diet, their sleep schedule, their work ethic, and see work in progress. The internal drive. They feel they must provide structure, or the sixth house person will fail or fall ill. The shadow. They can become the nag or the manager, losing the ability to see their partner as an equal and instead seeing them as a project. The growth. Their karma is to learn that they cannot control another person's health or productivity, only support it. The sixth house person, the apprentice. The sixth house person feels the Saturn person's gaze as a constant pressure to be better. In the beginning, this can be incredibly grounding and helpful, providing the backbone they've been missing. The internal drive. They feel a need to prove their competence and reliability to the Saturn person. The shadow. Over time, they may feel criticized, restricted, or physically drained. They might feel like they are walking on eggshells regarding chores or routines. The growth. Their karma is to accept the necessary discipline without resentment, using the Saturn person's structure to build a more functional, sovereign life. Comparison of roles. The cement factor. Despite the heaviness, this is cement synastry. While other couples break up because life got too hard, or the chores were too much, this couple thrives in the trenches. They are the pair that survives the 20-year mortgage, the health scare, and the demanding career shifts because they have already practiced the work of being together every single day. When Saturn falls into the 6th house in Synastry, the zodiac sign it occupies acts as the flavor of the discipline being imposed. It dictates exactly how the Saturn person tries to organize the 6th house person's life and where the karmic friction lies. Fire signs, the discipline of action. Aries, the karma is about initiative. Saturn demands the 6th house person stop procrastinating and start leading their own life. It can feel like a boot camp dynamic where the Saturn person pushes for physical activity and courage in daily habits. Leo, this is about the dignity of work. Saturn insists that the 6th house person takes pride in their service. The karma involves overcoming laziness or a diva attitude toward mundane chores. The partner demands creative excellence in the small things. Sagittarius, the focus is on the philosophy of health. Saturn tries to ground the 6th house person's wandering habits. The karma involves turning abstract wisdom into a daily practice. Stop talking about the truth and start living it through a structured routine. Earth signs, the discipline of matter. Taurus, this is the heaviest placement for physical routine. The Saturn person provides extreme stability, but can be overly controlling about finances and food. The karma is about learning the true value of persistence in the physical body. Virgo, here Saturn is in its element. This is the perfectionist. The Saturn person will scrutinize every detail of the 6th house person's life. The karma is about achieving mastery over the material world through extreme precision and discernment. Capricorn, professionalism enters the home. The relationship feels like a business partnership. The karma involves building a legacy through hard, thankless work. It's about learning that showing up is the highest form of love. Air signs, the discipline of the mind. Gemini, the karma of communication. Saturn demands that the 6th house person becomes organized in their thinking and scheduling. It's about trimming the mental fat and focusing on useful information rather than gossip or distraction. Libra, the karma of balanced labor. Saturn insists that the chores and daily burdens be shared with absolute fairness. If one person is doing more than the other, Saturn will create a contractual crisis to force a rebalancing of duties. Aquarius, this is about socially conscious work. Saturn pushes the 6th house person to make their daily labor benefit the collective. The karma involves moving away from selfish routines toward a lifestyle that serves a larger, more innovative purpose. Water signs, the discipline of emotion. Cancer, the karma of emotional maintenance. Saturn demands that the 6th house person creates a stable, secure domestic rhythm. It's about the work of caretaking, learning that self-care isn't a luxury, but a mandatory responsibility. Scorpio, the most intense placement. This is about purgative health. Saturn forces the 6th house person to eliminate toxic habits and deep-seated psychological baggage. The karma is the death of the old self through a grueling daily transformation. Pisces, the karma of spiritualized routine. This is a difficult one. Saturn tries to put boundaries on a 6th house person who may be prone to escapism. It's about bringing the divine into the dishes, learning that chopping wood and carrying water is the path to enlightenment. Subscribe to Karmic Synastry channel and be one click away from checking your relationships anytime you want to.